because I want to talk about specifically understand the concept for this one.
Okay.
Then at least I'll tell you this one. Okay. Accordingly, you want to buy, we are left with 20 minutes only.
Yeah.
Because actually 5 o'clock. Okay. Okay. I think we'll start it off.
Yeah.
I think the slides. Lights. You are at page 1. No, this is not be switched on. Projector. Project. One is called as a place of supply, another is called this one, input tax credit. When I say that input tax credit, though I went through example and somebody has asked about a single market and all those things. GST, what is the GST means? The local procurement, that is something called a local sales. We consider as a local supply for the time being, it is one local supply. It will attract 2 levels of GST. That is SGST and CGST. Suppose a supply, I say the tax rate, let us consider as an 18%. It will be 9% SGST and another 9% will be CGST. It is not necessarily 9, it may be 10 plus 9, that is not a fixed habitat, it is. But understand, it is having 2 components. One is called SGST, another is called as a CGST.
Vary from state to state also.
The intention is that it should not vary from state to state. The GST council for a particular supply, what should be the rate? Though, if we really look at actually the provision they talked about, there is a band. It will be there. Band, generally, it might be used only for a very selective items. If it is the local items alone, they may use actually a band available one. Otherwise, it should be the same rate across it. Okay. So, they are talking about 18% means it is 9 plus 9, it can be there, SGST and CGST. If it is a local side. If it is the same thing, it is supplied from one state to another state. There is something called interstate supply. For your situation, I will explain what you mean interstate supply subsequently. For interstate supply, what the tax will be paid, it is IGST. That is, a combination of CGST and SGST is IGST. It is called the integrated goods and service tax. So, IGST will be, if it is a 9 plus 9, it is 1, IGST will be 18%. Now, look at the outward supply. If you are going to do a local supply, you will pay CGST or SGST. If it is an interstate supply, you will pay IGST. How will you use your credit? You should have a credit register having component of SGST, CGST and IGST. Credit will have 3 components: SGST, CGST and IGST. SGST, every state it is SGST, it is one. Okay. Now, credit, how you can use the credit? CGST can be used for payment of CGST. SGST can be used for payment of SGST. IGST can be used for payment of, yeah, it can be paid for first IGST, CGST, then it can also paid for SGST also. Similarly, for payment of IGST, you have to use first IGST, CGST, SGST in that order only. What is the fungibility is not there? You cannot use SGST for CGST or CGST for SGST. This is what in a credit.
Interchange is not possible.
Interchange is not possible between CGST and SGST.
Not a basket.
Okay. So, your basket it is effectively try to manage through where procurement it is the IGST. Outward supply of IGST also. Accordingly, this can be used because IGST is going to allow you to be used for any of these 3, but in the priority order. Okay. We will go to the.
In this prioritization, do we suffer somewhere?
you may not suffer at least very heavily. See, it is all, that is the reason I told you registration wise only. There may not be at least suffering that way as well. Somewhere you are having heavily local at least only. Anyhow, it is going to suffer at least SGST means IGST if it suffers. You will use it for SGST for IGST. Between SGST and CGST not all. Where the issue can come up in the initial stage. If you have an accumulated credit of at least SENVAT credit of, that is a service tax. Whereas you will not have the VAT credit at all. So that credit you will not in a position to use it for SGST.
We have quick rates then.
Yeah, that credit you will use it for payment of only CGST. Okay. So that credit can be used for actually payment of IGST.
So when we get the input, the input is single.
If we get an input, we will have at least two taxes paid. What are the things? CGST and SGST.
Then when we have the input, then we have CGST also. And then how do we utilize our pending SENVAT with us? It will take too long to go into the,
It all depends upon how much value addition.
we don't do much.
No, that you don't say that. You are doing much. That is what you have to look at. Otherwise, if you are talking about a credit, if you have a credit, unless if there is a value addition, if there is no value addition, then the question does not arise. Your existing credit will continue as such. If there is a value addition only, it will be there, it is one. Depending upon the quantum of value addition, whether it is actually 20%, 30%, 40%, depending. 2 to 3%.
Yeah.
So it will continue. You will actually, then your credit position, credit position continue for a number of years.
Yes.
Okay.
So we have to dilute that in this year.
That is the transition wise. It is better to dilute it out rather than paying it by a cash. Use the credit for payment of this one. At the end of the period, 31st March 2017, whatever credit taken, eligible credit taken, available, it is allowed to taken to GST. But you look at least, no, you don't have much of at least one. To the level of CGST, if you are talking about value addition is not there, higher accumulated credit. If you want to pay it now, it is one, you can do it. But if you don't have at least much to pay, what will you do? In the end of March, unless there is some tax to be paid, na? Okay, so that you have to take it over. There is some refund provisions are available, but there are specific situations only. Not for everywhere a refund of the credit is not allowed. Okay, so this is, keep this one, because this is an area which we can discuss it how it is. Now coming to understand what do you mean by nature of supply. If the location of the supplier and the place of supply is in the same state,